Okay, Coach. Welcome back. I can't say back.
Yeah, I've been here for
for a long
whole
time.
year now. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does the team look?
It's still very early to tell. You know, kickoff day is actually a little earlier this year than last year. We had our first camp yesterday, and so it's still a month to go till the start of the Swiss season, and still we have a lot to work on. But I feel like watching us on film last year and then yesterday, I think we definitely are ahead of where we were this time last year. So that's an encouraging sign. We have a lot of players up from the U19 team that were part of the U19 championship team. Many of them are already fighting for starting positions, and we have a handful of rookies again, so our numbers are slowly growing.
Mm-hmm. But last year you had a young team, some really new players, and you won the championship. Really, it was a great year for the Broncos.
Yeah.
So it has to be repeat this year, I guess. No?
Well, that's certainly what do you call it? You know, you just because you win the championship one year, obviously sometimes you think the next year, well, we have the same team coming back, and I think that's among the teams that I've coached, the teams that have had the most disappointing seasons are the ones with the highest expectations.
Can you say already something about the strengths and weaknesses?
It's so very early. I mean, I would say one thing, we have more bodies on the offensive line than we did last year. We got one or two back from injury and one or two up from the U19. So just right there, you go from 5 to 6 to 8 to 9. So we're pretty good there. Secondary will be an area where we're still looking for answers of who's going to step up. Most of the other positions in terms of who's there, we already know. So it's just a matter of who's going to be the first guy up off the bench in a backup situation at most of the positions. And secondary, we're still looking to figure out who's going to be that first guy.
Mm-hmm. Your reports, Josh is probably an integral part of the offense, obviously.
Yeah, Josh and Jamal, we had really good fortune last year signing those two guys. Not only were they outstanding players, but they fit really well here in Coeur with the team, and that's a big part of the reason why they came back for a second year. So that's great to have that kind of continuity going on. Josh is extremely good player, but also a great leader, very intelligent, wants to be a coach. So he has more coaching responsibility this year on offense, and Jamal, once again, on defense is a big part of what we do in the secondary. Both those guys were very involved, not only in the play on the field, but also in the strategy behind the game. So these are really good assets to have. We're really happy to have them for another year.
Mm-hmm. The Broncos play like an international series game this year. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
international game.
It's those games are very interesting to me. We did explore briefly the possibility of playing internationally in a quote-unquote official tournament. Right now, the landscape in Europe is very difficult to judge. There's questions over who is in charge of IFAF, and yet they're running a tournament. There's still the remnants of the old EFAF running some tournaments. So for us, we wanted to play internationally, but we weren't really sure that playing a tournament was necessarily the best way to get it done. The structure is quite unclear as to which tournaments, other than the Big Six, and everyone knows the best teams are going to play in the Big Six, even though there's a team in the Big Six this year that won 2 games and lost 12 last year. So other than that tournament, everything else is hard to gauge. What's the next tier? And for us, we stopped thinking about, well, okay, what's the most prestigious tournament, and we just wanted to play good games. And if you look at some of the matchups, there's teams going a long way, and there's teams in these tournaments that that didn't even have winning seasons last year, and they're in a league called Champions League. So for us, more important than the title of the tournament we were playing in was the kind of opponent we were playing. And the Panthers in Poland, 2 years in a row vice champions. They were undefeated going into the championship game. I know their head coach very well. We worked together in Innsbruck, so I know that they're going to be disciplined, well coached, and that's going to be a quality game for us to go on the road. And if we do decide to go internationally again, that's what we'll have to do. We'll have to go on a long trip. So I wanted to give our guys that experience. And then, Allgäu Comets, the German league is by far the best league in Europe. When you look at number of good teams, number of top teams, Germany is clearly the best. It's been all German finals in the Big Six the last few years. So we wanted to challenge ourselves against a team from that league. Obviously, if we played the top 2 teams, I don't think we could be competitive. But we felt like, playing a strong playoff qualifier, maybe a half finalist, was the kind of challenge that our guys need. being Swiss champions is good. It's a great thing. It's our goal every year. But I also don't want us to be complacent. There are other things out there than the 6 teams that comprise the first league in Switzerland. And so for us to play a team that's on paper better than us, Allgäu will be better than us on paper. They have more imports, they have more coaches, they have more local players. But that's a challenge that we wanted to take on, to play someone better than us and see, where do we stack up against, one of the top, clearly one of the top 10 teams in Europe. So being able to pick those 2 opponents and control, where we're playing, when we're playing, and who we're playing was more important to us than, what trophy, what name is on the trophy you're playing for. So that's why we went that way.